Bien, nuevamente es un placer tener con nosotros una gran charla con otra leyenda, con otro gran líder del desarrollo del tenis mundial. Está con nosotros Allen Fox. Hi, Allen. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you, Fernando. And
Okay.
you?
Very good. Very good. Happy to and honored to be with us and yourself. Very good. It's a great privilege that the people from Latin America can hear your ideas and concepts. Thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate you having me on your show. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to make a brief presentation because if I have to make all the presentation, will take a couple of hours, okay? Allen fue y es una de las grandes mentes pensantes del desarrollo del tenis en la parte de psicología de los Estados Unidos, ¿sí? Estudió en la UCLA, en una universidad en California muy importante. Es doctor en psicología, fue cuarto finalista de Wimbledon, ganó el torneo de Canadá y con el torneo de Pacific Southwest. Durante muchos años estuvo entre los 10 mejores jugadores de Estados Unidos. De hecho, fue miembro del equipo de Copa Davis en el año 61, 63 y 66. Con la parte de psicología trabajó con jugadores como John McEnroe, Dinara Safina, Justin Gimelstob, Marty Fish, Tracy Austin, Igor Kuniskin, Ashley Hackelroth y muchos más. También es un gran autor. Es autor de 5 libros que tienen que estar en la biblioteca de todos ustedes. O sea, es 5 libros que, por ejemplo, Think to Win, que es un muy buen libro, The Winner's Mind, Tennis, The Winning Mental Match. Son todos libros que son muy importantes para un entrenador y para un jugador. También ha presentado en diferentes países. Ha tenido ponencias en España, en Argentina, en Indonesia, Sudáfrica, Israel y muchos otros países. Y algo que también es trascendente en su carrera, durante 17 años fue el head coach, el director de la Pepperdine University, en la cual pasaron gran cantidad de jugadores. O sea, la experiencia desde el lado científico, la experiencia desde el lado de jugador, la experiencia del lado de capitán de equipos, bien, reúne en una sola persona una gran cantidad de conocimiento. As I said before, thank you to be with us. Allen, was a brief presentation of your career.
Well, thank you. Actually, I understood some of it. So thank you for saying all those nice things.
No, which is true. No. Lo que vamos a hacer ahora va a ser una serie de preguntas. There is a lot of people watching us right now. Everybody is saying hello, to you from different parts of Latin America. We have people right now, 2 minutes. We have people from Costa Rica, from Mexico, from Argentina, from Uruguay watching you. Well, let's talk a little bit on your times when you start to play tennis and your early ages and UCLA member of the team and your first years on tennis, and then when you start also to try to play like professional tennis at that time, no? You play Wimbledon, you play different tournaments. How was your tennis at that time?
Well, I was not a great athlete in other sports, but for some reason I learned tennis very quickly. Do you want to translate, or shall I go on longer?
Keep going. You give me like 3 or 4 phrases, and then I translate.
Okay. I started late. I was almost 14 years old when I started, but very quickly I understood how to play the game. I understood at that age to keep the ball in the court, and so I didn't try to do much with it.
Okay, él empezó tarde. No era tan bueno en los deportes, pero por alguna razón aprendió rápidamente tenis. Comenzó a aprender a los 14 años y le fue bastante bien. O sea, se adaptó rápidamente y entendió el juego rápidamente.
And when people talk about the mental game, they think it's only some great champion that hits a great shot on match point or a big point.
Cuando la gente piensa sobre lo que es la parte mental del juego, muchas veces lo que están pensando es en los grandes campeones con sus grandes tiros.
But part of the mental game, and an important part, is understanding what strategies work with your own physical capabilities, and how to train yourself so that you take advantage of what you can do, not what some other great player might do.
Y es muy importante entender que la parte mental del jugador es entender lo que tú tanto mentalmente y físicamente puedes hacer y explotar esa parte y preocuparte más en lo que tú puedes hacer y no tanto en lo que otros jugadores hacen.
And tennis is a difficult game mentally, more so than most games.
Y el tenis es un deporte difícil desde el punto de vista mental, mucho más que otros deportes.
Because tennis is basically and inherently an emotional game. Not like, well, there is some emotion in basketball or football, soccer, but tennis is very personal and very emotional.
Y además de la parte mental, el tenis lo que lo hace difícil es que es un deporte muy emocional. Hay emoción en otros deportes como el básquet, el fútbol, pero como es un deporte individual, el factor personal hace que el contenido emocional sea muy importante.
Yes, our emotional system sees tennis as a fight. It feels like a fight, like a fist fight or a wrestling match with your opponent.
Como es un alto contenido emocional, lo que tú sientes es como una batalla física, es como si fuera una batalla de lucha o una batalla de contacto.
And our nervous system, the way we are genetically programmed, wants us to win fights. It wants us to raise ourselves and be superior to our opponent.
Y cómo está construido nuestro sistema nervioso, ¿sí? Y todos nuestros condicionamientos, lo que queremos es superar al otro, ser superior. Y entonces, por eso tratamos todo el tiempo de ganar.
And because of this, tennis feels very bad when you play a long, difficult tennis match and you lose. You feel very bad about it. You feel diminished, like your opponent is superior to you, and it doesn't feel good.
Y si tomamos en cuenta que, por ejemplo, cuando tuviste un partido muy largo, ¿no? Y terminás perdiendo, te sientes mal, te sientes disminuido, te sientes como si tu oponente fue superior a ti.
And in other sports, like you play a basketball game or a football game and you lose, it doesn't bother you very much. Tennis is different.
En cambio, en los otros deportes, si pierdes, sobre todo los deportes colectivos, obviamente te molesta, pero no tanto como pasa en el tenis. En el tenis es mucho más fuerte.
And people, when they get involved in these tough matches, they forget that tennis is just a game that they're basically playing for fun.
Y entonces,
it's supposed to be fun.
y muchas veces se olvidan de que esto es un juego y en definitiva debería ser divertido, ¿no?
Yes, and the basic problem in tennis is because winning is so much more pleasant than losing. Okay, we feel stressed because we can't control the outcome of the match. You can do everything right and still lose, and so that's very stressful. People want to win very much and they don't want to lose very much.
Y una de las cosas que ocurre es que como quieres ganar y si hiciste todo bien y terminás perdiendo, eso genera muchísimo estrés, ¿bien? Porque en definitiva la gente lo que quiere es ganar, ¿no?
So you have a sort of two, well, you have many issues, but two major ones are that you mustn't forget, if you're trying to win a tennis match, you mustn't forget the object of it, which is basically to win the match. But when you play, it's not helpful often to think about whether you're going to win or not. It tends to make you nervous if you worry too much about winning. So it's a balance.
Sí, y dos conceptos fundamentales. Normalmente el objetivo es ganar el match, pero si tú le das demasiada importancia a ganar el match, te genera mucho estrés y en definitiva a veces también te aleja del objetivo que quieres y eso te genera más presión, por lo cual hay que establecer un balance en la forma de pensar.
So under pressure, what you try to do is by focusing on what you're going to do very narrowly in the next few seconds, you can reduce the thinking about whether you're going to win or not. For instance, when you reach match point, it's better not to think, oh, if I win this point, I win the match. It's better to think, watch the ball, relax, wait forward, all the little things that help you produce your best shot under the circumstances.
Y desde el enfoque, desde la concentración, si le sacas el pensamiento y estar todo el tiempo pensando que quieres ganar y te empiezas a dejar jugar, por ejemplo, en el caso cita del match point, si te pones a pensar que si ganas ese partido vas a ganar, si ganas ese punto vas a ganar el partido, ¿sí? Se genera mucha presión, mucha distracción también. Entonces lo mejor es no pensar mucho en ese punto, sí, mirar la pelota, respirar, hacer lo que estás acostumbrado de manera de alejar el pensamiento y que tu tenis fluya.
And you can't simply tell yourself, don't think about winning.
Sí, tú no te puedes decir no pienses acerca de ganar.
You must give your mind something else to think about because the mind needs to think about something. It needs to fill itself with thoughts. And if you don't give it something else to think about, it will naturally think about whether you're going to win or not. And it's going to make you nervous.
Y entonces, si tú no le das a la mente, o sea, estamos diciendo que no debes pensar en ganar, pero si a la mente no le das algo que pensar, naturalmente se va a ir el objetivo primario, que es querer ganar. Entonces tienes que construir un pensamiento para que la mente se mantenga relajada.
So what you do is you fill your mind by focusing on exactly what you're going to do in the next few seconds. For example, if you're returning serve, and this is what I used to do, and it's helped many players. Instead of thinking whether you're going to win the point or not, you think about watch the ball. You watch your opponent bouncing the ball, getting ready to serve. And then you review, wait forward, watch the ball, short backswing. Okay.
Entonces, en vez de estar pensando, anulas el pensamiento de ganar y empiezas a pensar elementos que vayan a tener que ver con lo que vas a hacer en los próximos segundos. Entonces, ¿qué hace? Por ejemplo, mira la pelota, balanza hacia adelante, flexiona las rodillas, mira cuántas veces bota la pelota del sacador si estás en una evolución de saque. O sea, lo que buscas es que tu mente esté ocupada en pensamientos constructivos.
Another little thing that I used to think about when I was returning serve is you have to have your hands flexible. So I would remind myself as I'm getting ready to return serve, flexible hands. And the reason you have to have your hands flexible is because when they serve it at you, the ball comes very quickly and sometimes in very awkward spots. And so you have to be somewhat relaxed and flexible to adjust.
Sí, otro de los elementos que él considera que son importantes es que las manos, desde el punto de vista desde el punto de la muñeca, tienen que estar flexibles, relajadas, porque muchas veces el saque viene a tan alta velocidad que el swing tiene que ser muy corto y con el movimiento de la mano relajada abres y bloqueas o controlas la velocidad del saque usando la velocidad del saque que viene, ¿no?
What is not helpful is to worry about whether you're going to hit the return in the court or whether you're going to win the point. Those are thoughts that just tend to make you nervous.
Y, por ejemplo, pensar dónde vas a meter la pelota o pensar que tenés que ganar ese punto son pensamientos que te tienden a ponerte nervioso.
Another example would be when you go to serve, okay? What I used to focus on and what's helpful to most people is your arm and your hands have to be relaxed. The serve should be a relaxed motion. So I would make sure my arm was flexible.
Y entonces también, si vamos a hablar del saque, lo que tenemos que tener es que también las manos, el hombro, el codo tienen que estar relajados. O sea, el saque es un movimiento elástico, dinámico y relajado.
Yeah, you ultimately control the ball by being relaxed, and you control it with your hand. You have to have a relaxed, flexible hand in order to control the spin of the ball and the depth.
Sí, el saque necesita, y la aceleración y el control se va a dar a través de la mano, ¿sí? Por lo cual necesitas tener la mano relajada para generar efecto y colocación, ¿no? Y control y colocación.
And these are the things you focus on rather than whether you're going to win the point or not, or whether you're going to double fault. I mean, one of the worst things you can think about when you miss your first serve is, oh, I hope I don't double fault.
Ya, una de las cosas fundamentales de las cuales no tienes que pensar, por supuesto, es no voy a hacer doble faltas o pensamientos negativos, ¿no?
Yeah. Those are the kind of thoughts that make you double fault.
Y si esos son si lo piensas, son los tipos de pensamientos que te hacen hacer una doble falta.
There's one other thought that I would advise you not to have.
Y otro de los pensamientos que les voy a recomendar que no tengan.
And that is when you're returning serve, and it's an important point, and your opponent misses his first serve or her first serve, the one thing you don't want to think at that point is, I hope she or he double faults.
Otro de los pensamientos que no tenés que hacer es que si el jugador no mete el primer saque, no pienses, bueno, ahora va a ser una doble falta.
And again, just to repeat, in order to avoid thoughts like that, you focus on exactly what you're going to do rather than the outcome.
Sí. Concéntrate más en lo que vas a hacer más que en el resultado.
Now, controlling emotion, because when you play tennis, the normal emotions that you have in a tennis match are usually not helpful.
Generalmente, y es muy importante controlar las emociones, porque la mayoría de las emociones que aparecen en un partido muchas veces no son las más saludables, las que más te ayudan.
If you behave like a normal person and you allow your normal emotions to come out, it's going to make you lose.
Y entonces, si tú no te portas bien, ¿sí? Y no te comportas, las emociones van a hacer que termines perdiendo.
For example, when you miss an easy shot or you miss a shot on an important point, the normal emotion at that point is to become frustrated or angry.
Cuando pierdes un punto o pierdes una pelota, la emoción normal es sentirte frustrado.
And it's totally normal to become frustrated. And
normal.
And it's also totally normal if you behave like that to lose.
Y es normal también si te comportas así ante el perder.
The great competitors do not behave like normal people.
Los grandes competidores no se comportan como personas normal.
Go on. What were you going to say? Ask a question.
No, using that, no, how great champions behave on court. You see in many different decades champions, and then you work with top champions like McEnroe, Tracy Austin, all those guys. You know, what particular things are in common different generations? Don't talk about the speed, because all of know that the speed changed a lot with the new rackets, new materials, whatever, you know. But in terms of the mental and emotional point of view, which kind of aspect do you consider from you see probably since Pancho Gonzalez to Federer, no? You know, which kind of particular aspects they are or similarities they have.
Well, the great players usually, in general, have very, very good emotional control. For example, if you watch Federer playing, Federer does it the way I would advise most people to do it. Okay, he at the end of a point, he shows no emotion at all.
Por ejemplo, la pregunta fue, ¿qué en particular tienen los grandes campeones? Porque él vio desde Pancho González o recorrido como jugador y como también entrenador y como psicólogo, ¿no? Entonces, por ejemplo, dice que Federer es un jugador que no es tan fácil de conseguir, de hacer, porque cuando termina un punto prácticamente no muestra emociones.
Now, I like to use Federer as an example because he behaves the way most of us would like to behave. He's more of a normal person. He had a bad temper when he was young, but he learned to control it.
O sea, todos los campeones tienen una gran inteligencia emocional, un gran control emocional. En cambio, le gusta mostrar a Federer porque Federer tiene un gran control emocional y se comporta como una persona normal jugando al tenis. Tiene un gran control de sí mismo, aunque de joven no lo tenía, aprendió a controlarse.
I don't like to use Pancho Gonzalez or John McEnroe as good examples for normal people because they were able to function when they got angry, where most people can't do that. Okay, these were very, very, very unusual people.
Yeah, the exception. ¿No? Lo que dice que no le gusta mostrar como ejemplo de personas normales a John McEnroe o Pancho González, porque ellos jugaban mejor como cuando se enojaban y no es lo más frecuente, eran personas inusuales, ¿no?
Yes, most people would be best watching Federer because what he does, you don't see emotion at the end of most points. And it isn't just that you don't see it. He doesn't have it. The trick is not to control the emotion, to become angry inside, but not show it. The important thing is not to have anger inside at all.
Entonces dice, por eso le gusta a Federer, porque Federer no es que no controle su emoción, sino que es casi como si no tuviera emoción. O sea, toma las cosas como que fluyen, ¿sí? Y entonces es como que no se enojara o de ninguna manera.
The game, because it tends to be a very personal game, it's important not to let it get personal. For example, when I was playing a match, if I played somebody I disliked, if I didn't like my opponent, it was much more difficult for me to play.
Claro, dice que es muy importante no tomar los matches como algo personal. En el caso cuando él jugaba, si él jugaba contra alguien que no le gustaba, ¿sí? Había como un contenido emocional extra.
Because when I was angry at somebody or I didn't like them, it made me want to win too much.
Claro, y entonces como no te gustaba y a esa persona querías ganar mucho más.
And there's a curve in sports psychology. It's called an upside. It's a curve. It's an upside down U, and it's a measure of performance versus motivation.
Y entonces hay una curva muy importante en psicología que está en forma de curva de abajo hacia adelante, ¿no? Y donde está desde de la motivación con performance.
And so when you're not very motivated, your performance is bad. Okay? When you're not motivated at all.
Cuando tú no estás motivado, tu performance va a ser mala.
And as you increase the motivation, you increase the performance.
Si tú entonces incrementas la motivación, automáticamente la performance se va a incrementar.
But if you keep increasing the motivation too much, the performance starts to go down.
Y si te pasas de vuelta y te pusiste mucho incremento de esa motivación, entonces vas a empezar a perder performance.
So most people get into a lot of trouble when they get to the back side of this curve where they've got too much motivation and so their performance is poor.
Entonces también tenemos gente que está del otro lado de la curva, que tiene demasiada motivación y entonces empiezan a perder performance.
And again, just to sort of think about it, our emotional system was not designed to have a 2-hour fight where we had to control fine motor movement. Our nervous system was not made to do that.
O sea, el sistema nervioso nuestro no está normalmente preparado para aguantar 2 horas de intensidad de una pelea, de una intensidad emocional.
We were made, if we were going to fight, which a tennis match is, we were made to have a short fight for a minute or two, maximum energy, and then it's over. But the tennis match doesn't end. It goes on, and you have to control yourself, which is what makes it difficult.
Y entonces uno quiere tener una pelea de 1 minuto o 2 minutos, donde hace full power, pone todo lo que tiene, ¿sí? Pero no es lo que pasa en el tenis. Si bien es cierto, hay tiempos entre los puntos y hay tiempo entre los games, ¿sí? La realidad es que no sabes a la hora que terminas y el partido de tenis sigue y sigue, por eso lo hace tan difícil como deporte.
Now, the best advice I could give regarding the mental game is the following, is to have no feeling inside at the end of a point. No feeling at all.
Yeah, because most of the guys who are listening to us are coaches. I'm gonna translate for they can recommend to work on with the players on that sense, ¿no? Lo que recomienda es que lo que tienen que lograr es que los jugadores terminen no teniendo emociones, o sea, controlando esas emociones desde el punto de vista de reducirlas al máximo.
Yeah, and this is for most points. Now, there are times when you may need a bit of extra energy. So at that time, you may slap yourself on the side or try to generate some adrenaline, but not all the time, just occasionally when you need it.
Y entonces, cuando tienes en momentos muy particulares que tú necesitas activarte o necesitas, ¿sí?, tener más adrenalina o más intensidad, bueno, entonces lo que haces es te activas, te saltas, ¿sí? Haces algo para generar mayor activación.
And you'll see Federer do this. What he'll do sometimes is you see no emotion at the end of most points, and then maybe he gets into the tiebreaker and he makes a good shot or early on and he goes, yeah, okay, and he gets himself excited, but that he does that on purpose.
Sí, por ejemplo, él muestra, si lo ven a Federer, muestra casi todo el tiempo muy pocas emociones, casi nada de emoción, pero cuando llega un tiebreak y gana un punto importante, aprieta el puño, ¿sí? Y entonces se activa más, ¿no? Para tener más energía para cerrar ese set o ese partido.
And the reason that's helpful to him is because when you get that adrenaline and it's going to be just a few points, he wants to maybe lose his mind a little bit and not be cautious and not think too much, just feel good and get himself excited for a short little burst.
Y entonces, como se está cerrando y es un momento de cierre del partido, él no quiere pensar mucho, en el caso de Federer, y lo que busca es sentirse bien, sentirse activado, sentirse energizado para cerrar los pocos puntos que quedan.
But the important thing to keep in mind is that a player like Federer does these things on purpose. He knows what emotion helps him, and he tries to create them on purpose. Most people, they just let the match determine their emotion. They don't control it themselves. The great players actually control the emotion so that it can help them.
Y en el caso de Federer, y es lo que él busca, los grandes jugadores tienen un gran control emocional y son ellos que controlan sus emociones y controlan el partido. Lo que pasa en ocasiones y con jugadores normales es que el partido controla las emociones, te genera una serie de emociones y entonces es el partido que te está controlando a ti, ¿no?
And by control, I don't mean they just suppress emotion. I mean they direct it. They don't have emotion when they shouldn't, and then they make themselves emotional when they feel they need it.
Claro. Y lo que dice fundamentalmente no es suprimir la emoción, sino conducirla, guiarla y manejarla para reducir su impacto en la mejor manera posible, ¿no?
And for example, between points, when I said you have no feeling at the end of a point, what you do is you don't react to anything that happened in the point. You relax, and then just before the next point starts, you have to get yourself a little excited, okay? But you do this on purpose. It has nothing to do with the last point. All it has to do with is right before the next point, you have to be a little excited. Otherwise, your energy level is too low. You have to raise it a little bit on purpose right before the next point. Not too high, but just a bit.
Yeah. Entonces dice, lo que también es el manejo que ocurre entre los puntos. Cuando terminas un punto tienes que bajar, relajarte, ¿sí? Para recuperarte y después, antes de empezar el próximo punto, ¿sí? Lo que hay que hacer es activarse, no muchísimo, sino activarse para estar listo para jugar el próximo punto, ¿no?
Anyway, did you have some questions or do you want me to go on?
No, I have some more questions. I have on the people.
Why don't you fire up?
Sorry, yeah, let's go to that. Let's talk about the excuses, because excuses is like an enemy on the game. It's very natural that the people, most of the players use excuses how, to cover everything what happened on the match. But nobody will win a match with excuses. But anyway, how to deal with that? Which is your thought about
it? Well, excuses are again part of a normal reaction, a normal thing to do. Most people, if they don't control themselves, they're going to make excuses. Okay, by excuses, there's always going to be something wrong when you play a match. You can't play a match and have nothing wrong. Okay, and so. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. La gente que tiene menos control emocional y que tiene menos entendimiento y control del partido, porque la pregunta fue qué acerca de las excusas y cómo manejar el concepto de las excusas, ¿no? Las excusas van a estar siempre porque es una forma de cubrir su falta de manejo emocional. Y además también hay que entender que en un partido no todo te va a salir bien. No todo va a ser como pensaste que iba a ocurrir bien. Entonces, muchas veces la gente coloca una excusa, ¿no?
And excuses weaken the player, they weaken you, and they help you lose.
Entonces, las excusas te debilitan y además te ayudan a perder.
Because your job when you're competing is not to tell everybody about your problems, because nobody cares about your problems. Your job is to solve your problem. Is to fix them as best you can.
Y la verdad que hablar de tus problemas cuando estás jugando un partido a nadie le importa. O sea, la realidad es que te estás debilitando. Tu trabajo en el partido tiene que ser resolver los problemas, ¿sí? Tratar de encontrar soluciones.
Yeah, weaker players mentally, when they have a problem, they start thinking to themselves, they can't wait to tell other people, why they lost. They think other people care why they lost.
Sí, los jugadores débiles mentalmente buscan incluso dentro del partido, cuando están perdiendo, qué van a decir cuando salgan de la cancha, ¿sí? Y entonces eso muestra que como si les importara a la gente por qué perdió, y la realidad es que a la gente no le va a importar nada.
Yeah. Instead of thinking of how to solve problems, the weaker players are thinking of talking about their problems to other people. They feel that if they lose the match because of some outside problem, then it's not their fault. And they didn't really lose the match then. They think somehow it makes the loss less real.
Y entonces cuando ponen excusas y buscan siempre justificarse, lo que la realidad hacen que hace menos real todo lo que pasó durante el partido.
Yeah, what most players don't realize is that nobody cares why you lost the match. And not only that, they don't even care whether you win the match or lose the match. They're interested in their own match. They're not interested in your match.
Y es importante hacer entender a los jugadores que nadie le importa mucho por qué perdiste el partido. Tampoco le importa mucho por qué ganaste el partido. Cada uno está en su propia carrera, en su propio intento de ganar el partido, ¿no?
And in addition, the person that is making excuses is also behaving in a way that makes people lose respect for them.
Y los que usan mucho, y en adición a esto, los que hacen y usan muchas excusas también hacen que la gente pierda respeto de ellos, ¿no? Porque es una justificación.
Yeah, because they're really saying, my opponent doesn't deserve this victory. They try to take the win away from the opponent and claim that it is because of this problem they have, not that their opponent is just a better player.
Sí, entonces tratan de robarle la victoria al otro, reducir la importancia por la cual te ganó, bien, y entonces eso te hace ver mucho más débil, bien, porque tratas de sacarle el peso a la victoria, que en definitiva el otro jugó mejor, te ganó porque jugó mejor.
And that's poor sportsmanship, and poor sportsmanship is typical of the weaker person.
That's right. It's a human side also.
It's a human weakness.
Yeah, it's a human weakness. Y entonces una de las claves que es el jugador que hace eso demuestra que no solamente es un mal perdedor, sino también es débil en su parte humana.
Yeah, and if you're smart as a competitor, you want to hide your weaknesses. You don't want people to find out what a weak person you are.
Y si
Keep it to yourself.
Si tú eres un gran competidor, ¿sí? Y lo que vas a hacer es esconder las razones por las cuales has perdido, ¿sí? Eso es lo que vas a
hacer. I remember playing somebody and it was windy, and my opponent missed the ball, and he said, "Oh God, the wind really messed up my shot."
Y recuerda en una oportunidad que él jugó un partido y había mucho viento, y entonces el rival decía todo el tiempo, bueno, el viento me hizo que yo perdiera este tiro.
And I thought to myself, there's an excuse maker person.
Es una persona que genera excusas, ¿no?
Because when you play in the wind, your job is to figure out what the wind's going to do to the ball and get ahead of it. And you have to compensate for the wind. You have to figure out how to play in the wind. You can't cry that the wind is ruining your game. It's part of the game. You play outside, it's always going to be windy sometimes. So you have to figure out how to play in it.
Yeah, you have to adjust, no? Yeah.
You have to adjust. Nobody cares that the wind is moving the ball around. If you're a good player, you'll compensate.
Lo que dice es que, por supuesto, que si el jugador es bueno, ¿sí? Lo que tú vas a hacer es ajustar. Si hay viento, el buen jugador sabe que hay viento y va a tratar de resolverlo. A dónde va a ir la pelota debido al viento. Porque ya lo sabe, no se va a quejar de algo que ya sabe y que es parte del juego.
Most people think when they hear their opponent make an excuse, they think that they're an excuse maker. They think less of them.
Sí, que la mayoría de las personas cuando escuchan a alguien que se llena de excusas, la realidad que piensan que vale menos de esa persona.
But when I make an excuse, it's real. For instance, if my leg is sore and I'm not able to move as quickly as usual and I lose the match, I would be an excuse maker if I said to my opponent, my leg hurt and I couldn't move as well as usual today.
Sí,
That would,
yeah, good point. El principio del sportsmanship, del concepto, es que si a mí tengo la pierna lesionada y pierdo el partido, no sería bueno y no hablaría bien de mí si yo lo que hago es decir que perdí el match porque tenía la pierna lesionada y se lo estoy diciendo al contrario que me acaba de ganar, ¿no?
Yeah, just because your problem is a real problem, it doesn't matter. If you tell people about it, you're making excuses.
Sí, exactamente. Aunque sea un problema real, si tú lo cuentas, lo que estás haciendo es justificándote, poniendo excusas. That's why the big champions, like you can see Nadal or Federer, Djokovic, all those guys, you know, I'm always they are talking about, you know, if they lose the matches, they aren't saying, okay, the opponent was very good, that's it. No, nobody's talking too much about what happened, you know, with their mistakes or their failures, you know?
Yeah, well, they're very smart. The two smartest are Federer and Nadal. Djokovic is a little less smart. Serena is less smart still about what she says after the match. She tends to make excuses. Djokovic, he's trying too hard almost to have people love him. Federer and Nadal do it as well as you could do it.
Sí, dice que Federer y Nadal son los más inteligentes para después de los partidos decir las cosas como son, lo más reales y no hacer excusas. Djokovic es un poco menos hábil, ¿sí? Se esfuerza demasiado para agradar a todo el mundo, pero no está en el mismo nivel de Nadal y Federer. Y que Serena, por ejemplo, está más abajo todavía en ser inteligente en cómo responder qué pasó en los partidos cuando pierda. Yeah, because Serena sometimes is too emotional, no? At the end.
She's got, actually, Serena is a great player physically. She's not great mentally in most areas, other than she doesn't give up usually. She's a good fighter, but she's too emotional and she makes excuses when she loses.
Yeah. Dice que, por ejemplo, Serena, yo le hago la referencia de que es demasiado emocional muchas veces. Dice que Serena es una gran atleta físicamente, es muy fuerte, ¿sí? Que también es una gran peleadora, o sea, se mantiene en la lucha mucho tiempo, pero es demasiado emocional, por eso cuando pierde también tiende a tener excusas, ¿no?
Yes, and Serena, because she gets emotional, she chokes more than most players. I mean, she chokes. It doesn't make her quit. It doesn't make her stop trying. But when she gets ahead, she gets nervous and then she chokes, and she lets it get her too often.
Sí, y ella muchas veces entonces se equivoca y erra y muchas veces hace comentarios aún en situaciones que no debería hacer, ¿no?
By the way, something to keep in mind as a general rule, most people, if they're going to choke, they choke when they're ahead, especially as they get close to the end of the match. If they have a chance to win, that's when they start to think and they're more likely to choke when they're ahead.
Claro, y muchas veces ocurre que los jugadores empiezan a fallar, empiezan a tener una transformación, un golpe, ¿sí? Mental, que es cuando se empieza a cerrar el partido, ¿no? Y entonces tienen la presión de cerrar el partido y ahí empiezan los pensamientos negativos y entonces se cambia el resultado del match, ¿no?
Yeah, and that's when a player needs the most emotional discipline is when they're ahead. And that's the time when you particularly want to focus on exactly what you're doing and try to push thoughts of whether you're going to win or not out of your mind by focusing.
Y entonces ahí es muy importante donde el cierre del partido tú te tienes que enfocar, alejar los pensamientos negativos, utilizar tus hábitos positivos, ¿bien? Y tratar de pensar en lo que te va a hacer cerrar el partido. Y obviamente lo tienes que haber entrenado. Obviously, you have to practice that, no? You have to practice.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult because the mind does not want to focus. It wants to move around, and you have to force it to focus very narrowly on what you're doing.
Y la mente siempre tiene tendencia a irse para un lado o para el otro. Por eso hay que practicarlo. Tú tienes que entrenar y forzar la mente para que en un canal, en un objetivo bien específico, narrow, bien específico, tú puedas concentrarte en cerrar el partido.
Which brings up one more normal emotion, and that is when you get behind in a match, when you're losing, it is very normal to become discouraged. That's a normal emotion.
Yeah. También hay otra emoción que ocurre mucho en los partidos, que es cuando estás detrás, o sea, estás perdiendo, ¿sí? Vienes perdiendo el partido y te empiezas a sentir desilusionado, ¿no? Descorazonado.
And that's one thing that the great players don't allow that. They don't allow themselves to get discouraged. And the way they do it is you replace discouragement with hope.
Y entonces,
okay?
Una de las cosas fundamentales que tienen los grandes campeones, aunque vayan perdiendo, ¿sí? No dejan que entre o que salga la emoción de motivación, del descorazonamiento, ¿sí? Lo que hacen, reemplazan esa situación, esa emoción, por la emoción de la esperanza, ¿no? De la alternativa de que es posible.
Yeah, and of course, the game is a game of probabilities. It's not a game of certainties. And so when people get behind and they get discouraged, it feels to them like it's a certainty they're going to lose. When it's never a certainty either that you're going to lose or you're going to win. It's only a probability issue.
Yeah. El tenis, en definitiva, no es un juego de certezas, es un juego de probabilidades. Entonces, si estás perdiendo, tienes probabilidades de perder, pero no tienes la certeza de perder. Si tú te enfocas y te empiezas a trabajar contigo, entonces también vas a tener probabilidad de volver al partido.
Yeah, and of course, when you're behind by a set and maybe down a service break in the second, the probabilities are against you for winning the match. But that doesn't matter. You're not betting on the match. You have nothing better to do than to play. And as long as you're out there, you still have a chance to win. And that's where the hope comes in.
Y entonces lo importante es entrenarte a ti mismo mentalmente. Claro que si vas perdiendo, tienes más probabilidades de perder. Bien, pero si tú te mantienes en el partido y estás buscando la forma de solucionarlo, te afianzas, te agarras mentalmente y emocionalmente más de la esperanza, bien, no del descorazonamiento, ¿no?
Anyway, did you have another question you wanted to throw in there?
I remember one time, you know, the other day when we spoke, I say that my master coach was Felipe Lo Cicero, who was the coach of Guillermo Vilas, no? And Vilas, when he won the first tournament in 74, he won Madrid and Stade, no? And when he won Madrid against Orantes, on the final, he wrote a letter to my coach, no, and sent a letter saying, when I started and to the end, I feel the momentum. I was feeling that I was flying on the court. Where the ball is, I was there. How to develop that momentum, that flow, no, which is all the things, and you know, the time. It looks like 1 second, that's it. It's everything in the same moment, no?
Yes. Well, and as a player myself, I had matches where it felt like it was all very easy, and I had momentum. Momentum is a tricky one. I don't think you can create it out of nothing. What tends to happen is, because the human body is different from day to day. I mean, some days the nervous system is functioning very, very well, and other days it's not functioning so well. Okay, when it's functioning well, okay, what you want to do is you want to play on autopilot. You want to play without thinking. You want to just feel and focus and let the body react. On the bad days, you have to concentrate harder on fundamentals, and it takes more effort emotionally to function. But momentum is something that thinking, when you start thinking too much, you break the good momentum that you have some days.
La pregunta fue, y el comentario fue cuando I'm going to explain everything, ¿no? En Spanish.
Okay.
Felipe Los Cícero, cuando Vilas gana Madrid, que le gana a Orantes en la final, que es uno de los primeros torneos que gana en 1974, le escribe a Los Cícero una carta, ¿sí? que incluso me dio, y esa carta es donde Vilas dice que cuando jugaba, para él fue como un minuto de tiempo. Donde estaba la pelota, que él pensaba que flotaba, ¿no? Y que eso era como una especie de momentum, de un flow, un momento donde donde estaba la pelota, estaba y todo era muy fácil. Entonces, Allen lo que dice es que a él como jugador también le pasó. Hubo momentos de partidos que estaba en ese momento y que todo le salía fácil, y donde estaba la pelota estaba él y los tiros siempre entraban, y hay momentos que no juegas tan bien, y eso tiene que ver con varios factores. La primera es que no se puede entrenar el momento, es una serie de factores que se van uniendo. El segundo, que el sistema nervioso central no todos los días está igual, a veces estás cansado, a veces estás más motivado, a veces tenés más distracciones, y entonces no siempre es tan fácil de adquirirlo. Normalmente los jugadores que hacen que cuando están en una situación donde no todo fluye naturalmente como pasa en el momentum, fuerzan la concentración, buscan con entrenamiento mantenerse en un nivel de concentración. Cuando están en momentum es cuando todo les sale, ¿no? Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the game, when you're playing a competition, when you're playing a match, you play basically by habit and by reaction. It happens too quickly for thinking. It's basically habit, concentration, and focus when you play a match. You can't think quickly enough to make decisions out there. When you think too much, you destroy the habits, and then you make mistakes. It's habits that drive your shot making in a match.
Cuando tú juegas un partido, es tan rápido y cada vez es más rápido. La realidad es que no tienes tanto tiempo para pensar. Son hábitos de pensamiento, de resolución de pelotas que ya entrenaste. Entonces, la respuesta tiene que ser prácticamente automática y con una lectura inmediata de lo que pasa en el partido. Si empiezas a pensar mucho, empiezas a destruir ese hábito y entonces empiezas a complicarte más.
I would make a distinction between that and practice is very different. In practice, you do want to think, okay? Practice is for habit development. You're trying to develop a habit by repetition in practice. And so in practice, every ball you hit, you should be thinking how to make the stroke better. What did I do wrong? Do I need to turn my shoulders further? Do I need to watch the ball better? You're trying to develop a perfect habit, a perfect stroke in practice. So each ball you hit in practice, you should be trying to make the stroke better.
Entonces, el hábito se trabaja en la práctica, y las prácticas son para eso, para construir mejor ese hábito. Y entrenándolo, entrenas pequeños elementos que tienen que ser con hacer ese hábito mejor, ¿no? En cuestiones técnicas, en cuestiones tácticas, en cuestiones de resolución de diferentes tipos de pelotas, y lo que haces es entrenar ese hábito. Yeah.
Yeah, and some people in practice, they just hit balls. You know, they don't think, they're just hitting. And you will improve if you do that, but not as quickly as if you are concentrating on developing the perfect stroke and you're thinking about what you could improve on each stroke that you hit.
Sí, pues, dice que hay mucha gente que pelotea, pelotea, pelotea. Sí, por supuesto vas a mejorar, pero si no tenés un propósito, si no tenés un objetivo, en el que sea técnico, sea táctico, que estás pegando, va a ser mucho más lento la mejora y el desarrollo de ese golpe o de esa jugada.
And by the way, back to momentum for just a moment.
Yeah.
You know, when you have momentum, and by that I mean it's just one of those days where you feel good, and the match is moving along nicely because you're playing well and you feel good. You just want to keep it going. So you want to keep the same pace. You want to walk at the same speed. You want to stay relaxed. You don't want to do too much thinking about you know, what could happen and so forth, what's going to happen. You just want to stay in the moment and just stay relaxed and feeling good and just let the habits come out.
Y entonces lo que haces es, cuando estás jugando y estás en ese momento, no estás pensando mucho. Dejas que las situaciones surjan, que se vayan desarrollando. No estás pensando, acá tengo que corregir esto, acá lo tengo que corregir otro. Te va saliendo todo en forma muy natural.
And sometimes when I was playing a match, my opponent had momentum. My opponent might be playing well, and I was losing, and they were hitting the ball great. So what I did in that case was try to break the momentum of my opponent. And the way I would do that is I would slow down. I would take an extra few seconds between each point and give my opponent a chance to think about it.
Entonces puede ocurrir también que el que esté en el momento sea tu contrario. Entonces, que le pega de cualquier manera y tira todas y todas están adentro y todas con gran calidad, gran velocidad. Entonces, lo que tienes que hacer cuando el otro está en momentum es reducir la velocidad, es tratar de romper ese momentum del contrario, y una de las formas es reducir la velocidad de cómo las cosas están sucediendo, ¿no?
Yeah. And most players I have seen, when they get behind, and these are not professional, most sort of recreational players, when they get behind and they're losing, they actually go faster. They're in a hurry to catch up or whatever. But they should realize that when they're behind, the faster it goes, the sooner they're going to lose. They want to stay out there longer. The longer you stay out there when you're behind, the more chance there is that it'll turn around in your favor.
Y entonces ha visto muchos jugadores recreativos hacer exactamente el error. O sea, cuando comienzan y empiezan a sentir que el otro tiene el dominio, empiezan a jugar más rápido en vez de jugar más lento. Y entonces van a perder mucho más rápido, porque no entienden la situación del partido.
And you should also keep in mind, if your opponent has momentum and they're ahead of you, keep in mind as they get closer to the finish, if you make them think about it for a while, that's when they may become nervous, and that's when when the momentum could go away.
Sí, también tienen que acordarse, sí, que muchas veces puede ocurrir que aunque su contrario está en momento, estaba ganando, sí, a la medida que él llegue al final del partido, es el momento que va a pensar, ¿no? Y a sentir presión. Y en ese momento, en esa situación también el momentum se le puede ir, se puede desaparecer, y ahí tienen también una oportunidad, ¿no? Let's change. You wanna say something more?
No. Good. Let's change.
No. There's a lot of things to talk about, but it's it's like a coffee time that we have. We have 1 hour right now. We passed 1 hour. This was like a easygoing way to do it. Let's think about it, because you did a lot of projects also on business, no? And I think, and you think too, tennis is a very good to train people for life, no? And which ways are in particular aspects, business and tennis are, some similarities, and some concepts which are useful from tennis from the business side, because you did a lot of business project too, rather than to work with like sports psychology and also with different players. No, Alan?
Yes. Well, my book, The Winner's Mind, is a book that compares the traits that the great tennis players have, why they're great mentally, and applying that to business. It's the same mentality that does well in tennis also does well in business. And I can, you'll mention that, and then I'll go through the reasons, what exactly they do. That's the same.
Él escribió un libro que se llama La mente de los ganadores, en los cuales describe que las habilidades mentales de los tenistas son muy parecidas a las habilidades mentales de los que están en negocios, ¿sí? En los cuales hay muchos paralelos.
The number one talent that great business people have and great tennis players have is capacity for work. They will work harder than other people.
La capacidad número uno, para no decirle talento, la capacidad número uno que tienen los tenistas junto con los hombres de negocios es la gran capacidad de trabajo superior a la gente normal.
And that's a talent that people don't recognize. They think that tennis is a matter of having good reflexes and being able to run fast. That's only part of it. I have seen more players develop through hard work and discipline than just physical. There's a lot more physical talent than there is people that are willing to work for 4 or 5 hours a day for 10 years. Most people won't do that.
Y para él es un talento, porque la capacidad de trabajar muchas horas enfocado con un objetivo y obviamente trabajar tu parte física como tu parte de tus golpes, para él es un talento, es fundamental, o sea, es un hecho fundamental que los que tienen la capacidad de trabajar 4 o 5 horas enfocados durante 10 años, eso es una capacidad diferente.
A second thing is problem solving. The great tennis player is trying to solve the problems of the match. He or she looks at the match that no matter what's happening, there's always some way, something you can do to solve the problem if you think about it. And the same thing goes in business. No matter what the problem is, the good business person, in the back of their mind, they think, if they think about it and work on it, there is a solution to every problem.
Y una de las cosas fundamentales que también como segundo talento es la capacidad de resolución de problemas. ¿Sí? Los tenistas, los grandes tenistas, cuando se plantea un problema están buscando la salida, están buscando la solución. Lo mismo pasa con los hombres de negocios. Cuando aparece un problema o aparece una situación, no se quedan trabados en él. Buscan cómo resolverlo, cómo superarlo y para continuar su proyecto.
The other thing is the great tennis player thinks in the back of their mind, they think if they work hard enough, they can control a situation. They're in a situation that's very difficult to control, but somehow they think they can control it. They want to control it. It's the same in business. The very good business people, they're trying to control the situation. They're not letting somebody else run it or make excuses or whatever. They're trying to control the outcome themselves. They think they can control it. And it's the same in tennis and in business.
That's a good point. El tercero que ven, que es muy importante, es que los tenistas pues, siempre tienen en el fondo de su mente el deseo y el trabajo fuerte de querer controlar la situación, querer superarla y tener el control. Lo mismo pasa con los hombres de negocios. Se encuentran con un problema y lo que quieren es tratar de resolverlo, pero también de controlar todas las variables. y en eso hay muchas similitudes entre el jugador de tenis y el hombre de negocios.
The great tennis players also never forget the object of the game. When they're playing a tennis match, the object of the game in the back of their mind is to win the match. And so they don't do things that doesn't help them win. Okay, they know what the goal is, and they're always doing things to help them reach the goal. In business, it's the same. Your goal is to increase sales or decrease expenses, is to make a profit, whatever. And so the good business people never forget what the object of the game is.
Y otra de las cosas fundamentales que tienen los grandes campeones, como los hombres de negocios, es que en el fondo de su cabeza, en el fondo de su mente, tienen siempre el objetivo que quieren, y el objetivo es ganar. Y entonces manejan las situaciones, aplican sus recursos, resuelven situaciones siempre en función del objetivo de ganar. Exactamente pasa igual con los hombres de negocios. En cualquier situación lo que ellos quieren es o aumentar las ventas o reducir costos, pero en definitiva lo que quieren es ganar, bien, al igual que los tenistas.
And the weaker people in both tennis and in business, they get emotional and they forget. For instance, the weaker person, they get angry and they don't care about winning anymore. They're just angry and they do things that make them lose. They forgot that the reason when you play a match, you're trying to win. And so they forget. And in business, they'll do the same thing. They'll get emotional, they'll worry about something, and they'll forget what they're trying to accomplish.
Y una de las cosas fundamentales es también que controlan sus emociones, porque pasa exactamente lo mismo que en los negocios, que en los partidos. Si estás perdiendo y perdés tus emociones y te enojas o te frustras, vas a perder el objetivo de lo que es importante, que es ganar. En el hombre de negocios es lo mismo. Si se enoja por una situación, o si se pone frustrado, o si no tiene la suficiente motivación, no va a ganar. Entonces, la similitud fuerte que hay entre los buenos tenistas como los hombres de negocios es que buscan siempre controlar sus emociones en función del objetivo.
Yeah, I mean, a way to put it simply is that some people, they let emotion run the ship. They let emotion determine things, whereas the winners tend to, their logic system controls their emotional system. With the losers, their emotional system controls their logic system. It's the same in tennis as business. The intelligent part of the brain should be in control.
Y una de las cosas que puede citar es que tanto en los tenistas como en los hombres de negocios, la inteligencia lógica controla la inteligencia emocional. La gente débil, la inteligencia emocional los controla. Entonces dejan de pensar lógicamente y toman decisiones basadas en emociones.
Yeah, and just one last thing to add. We could go on, but it is the champions. They can take defeat or they can take a setback in tennis or in business better than most people. They don't quit or get discouraged and let it go when things start to go wrong. They try to keep the ship upright, and it's the same in business. Things go wrong, and you mustn't get discouraged and let it get you down. You have to keep trying to figure out how to do better, even when there are problems. It's sort of the response to problems is different between the losers and the winners.
Sí, y de la misma manera, y volviendo al tema del barco, quién controla el barco, y que no sean las emociones, sino la inteligencia lógica, los jugadores de tenis buscan eso. O sea, tienen persistencia, no se desilusionan, se mantienen en el partido, se mantienen en el negocio, y lo mismo pasa también con los hombres de negocio que perduran. ¿sí? Tienen persistencia, tienen resiliencia, ¿sí? Aprenden, se mantienen con un control emocional muy alto. It's very good concept. Let's talk another things. How was because some recommendation, you know, for coaches to work on the mental side on the process of the teaching lessons, you know, when you are training a player, some golden rules, you know, to make a drill, you know, when you have to do this 5, 7, whatever the number that you want. Some recommendation for coaches who are listening us.
Well, you know, teaching people to handle themselves better mentally is very difficult. Okay, and the reason it's difficult is because there's nothing you can do from the outside to make a person better mentally. You can't make them do it. You can't give them a trick. They have to do it themselves. And so they have to be motivated to make changes. So there's no simple trick. I mean, ultimately, the mental game is a matter, it's really sort of simple problem. It amounts to controlling and directing your emotions and your focus. That's all there is to it. There's no magic, but the player has to be very motivated to do it, because the player is going against his own emotional system. He's having to do something that's not natural, and so he has to be driven. I'll give you an example. For instance, players will ask me, you know, what do I do to control anger? I get angry when I play. Okay. What do I do to control it? Well, controlling anger is very easy. Okay. The way you control anger is you decide you're not going to be angry anymore. All right. It's a decision that you have to make beforehand. You have to decide that nothing on the court is going to make me angry. Okay. And that's all there is to it. And anybody can do that, but they have to decide to do it. Now, as a coach, you can tell them, look, if you get angry, it's going to make you lose. And when they're standing on the sideline, or you're in the office talking about it, sure, they know that. And then they get on the court, and it gets close, and they get a little tired, and they miss an easy shot, and they get angry again. All right.
Let me translate. So, yeah, was a long response. La pregunta que yo le hice fue, bueno, que nos des algunas reglas para trabajar en cancha con la parte mental con los jugadores. Y dice que obviamente cada persona, y es muy difícil trabajar la parte mental si el jugador no tiene una decisión y una entrega como para poder hacerlo. Lo importante es que el jugador tenga una entrega y una decisión personal de mejora en la parte mental, para que ustedes lo puedan guiar. Cada jugador es una individualidad. Entonces el jugador tiene que hacer un compromiso y una entrega personal para poder hacer esos cambios que necesita. Demos un ejemplo. Si el jugador dice, ¿cómo controlo cuando estoy enojado? Bueno, eso es simple, dice él. Lo primero que tienes que hacer es tomar la decisión de enojarte, ¿sí? Tomar la decisión de tener el control de tu enojo, aprender quizás a respirar, o algunas técnicas. Pero lo más importante es la capacidad del jugador de tomar decisiones y compromisos para no hacerlo. Es muy difícil trabajar la parte mental solamente de afuera hacia adentro. Hay que trabajar mucho de adentro hacia afuera, y el jugador tiene que tener el compromiso. Sorry. Yeah.
Now, to prove that they can control themselves if they wish, I use this example. I say, look, if I come with a pistol, a pistola, a big pistol, and we go out on the court, and I tell you, look, if you get angry, I'm going to come out on the court and I'm going to shoot you in the head with this pistol. Okay. And then for just to show the person I mean business, I shoot somebody on the next court in the head and they're laying there bleeding. And then I sit down on the sideline with my gun and I say, okay, play. But if you get angry for one moment, I'm going to come out there and you're going to end up dead like that other person. Okay, on the next court who I just shot. I asked that person, are you going to get angry then when I'm sitting there with a gun? And of course, they know they're not going to get angry. And the reason they're not going to get angry is because they decided to control themselves, because they would rather not control themselves than be dead. Okay, so it's a matter of motivation. They have to be motivated enough to do it, and then they can do it. And most people are just not motivated enough.
Y entonces dice que, por ejemplo, si tomamos como una opción que yo llevo una pistola a la cancha y le digo, ok, si tú te enojas, yo lo que voy a hacer es dispararte en la cabeza, y entonces le dispara a una persona que está al lado, en la cancha de al lado, en la cabeza y queda muerto ahí, y entonces le dice, si tú te enojas, yo te voy a disparar. Y entonces él empieza a jugar y por supuesto que no se enoja. ¿Por qué? Porque tiene la motivación de saber claramente que si se enoja va a recibir un disparo. Entonces el ejemplo, aunque es un ejemplo así radical, lo que muestra que todo es un tema de motivación, de tomar la decisión a través de la motivación de no desestabilizar tus emociones y controlarlas, ¿no?
So, yes.
We have some question from some of the people who are watching us. No.
Okay.
Can we have some responses?
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. Tell them not to ask me any difficult questions.
Yeah, sure. Lo que dice que no le hagamos preguntas muy difíciles. A ver, Carlos from Argentina. How do you recommend to work the emotions of the tennis players?
Well, it is to make the person has to. You can't make them do anything. They have to take personal responsibility for their own emotion. You can't do it from the outside. You have to keep telling them that basically they are responsible for their emotions and they must learn to control it themselves. Or the alternative is for them to be a loser. That's the alternative.
Dice que lo que tiene que trabajar es que la gente se haga responsable de sus emociones. Dice, es muy difícil trabajar de afuera hacia adentro. Si lo primero que hay que lograr es que la gente reconozca y trabaje sobre sus emociones. Si no logran trabajar sobre el control de sus emociones y no se hacen responsables, es muy probable que sean unos perdedores.
And one more thing, when they make excuses or do these things, it's the job of the coach to say, look, you are responsible. Excuses are not going to help you win. Okay, you have to control yourself and you have to fix problems. And so you keep putting the responsibility back on the player because there's a natural urge for them to escape responsibility. And it's your job as a coach to keep telling them they are responsible.
Sí, entonces dice que una de las cosas que hacen los jugadores que no tienen el control emocional o no se hacen cargo es poner excusas. Y las excusas, en definitiva, es el resultado de la falta de control emocional. Dice, hay que entender que los jugadores son, y sobre todo para los entrenadores que nos están escuchando, los jugadores son responsables de sus emociones, ¿sí? Y de aprender a controlar sus emociones. Ustedes pueden guiarlos, pero es de adentro hacia afuera. ¿Sí? Esa responsabilidad siempre es de ellos.
Now, I should make another point, and that is, if you're a teaching professional and your objective is to have your client keep coming back and taking lessons, then maybe when they make excuses, you can Be sympathetic.
Yeah, watch to the other side. No.
Yeah, because you want the business. All right, if you want the business, maybe you shouldn't lay it back on them. Maybe you give them sympathy, and you'll get a lot of lessons by being sympathetic.
Yeah. Dice que, bueno, si son coaches de clubes o gente que de repente viene a tomar clase y la gente pone muchas excusas, obviamente no te puedes poner demasiado duro con eso, porque si no va a afectar el negocio. Si tú quieres tener muchas lecciones de tenis, mira para otro lado y sé simpático y lo irás llevando de a poco. Another question, yeah, from Miguel from Mexico. Which kind of rituals do you recommend for junior players?
Which kind of what? What was
Rituals.
I'm not understanding that.
Habits on court. Rituals.
What kind of habits on court?
Yeah, habits on court.
I'm not sure how to answer. I'm not sure what he wants. Habits on court meaning.
It's like doing. I think the habits that all the rituals that Nadal is doing. You know, touching.
Oh, rituals.
Yeah.
Rituals. Okay. Yes. The most important ritual are what you do between the points. Okay. Between the end of the last point and the beginning of the next point. Okay. And there, I have sort of a simple ritual, and the ritual, the objective is to be ready for the next point. The only thing that counts in a tennis match is what you're going to do on the very next point. The last point doesn't make any difference. It's gone. And 2 points in the future don't make any difference. It's the next point. So when the last point's over, no emotion. Then some deep breaths and relax. You've got 20 seconds in between points, about 20, 25 seconds, whatever. If you're playing Nadal, it's going to be 35 seconds. But I won't go into that. But anyway, you relax, and then in the 5 seconds before the next point, your ritual should be all the little things that help you perform in the next seconds. It would be get excited, focusing. If you're a server turn, watching the ball, the short backswing, all the little keys that help you function in the next 5 seconds. And that ritual should be repeated every point, unless you can think of a better one. But it's just a series of things that get you ready for the next point. The ritual I suggested is a ritual that worked for me and works for a lot of players that I've coached. You may have a different one, but it's only to get you ready for the next point.
Okay, lo que tienes que practicar, lo más importante en los rituales es lo que va a llevarte de un punto al otro. Bien, tú tienes que pensar, el punto que se perdió o se ganó, el punto anterior ya pasó. El punto importante es el que viene. Entonces, respirar, concentrarte, mirar la pelota, enfocarte en lo que vas a hacer, ¿sí? Y tratar de dar lo mejor en ese punto. Activarte, bien, o sea, primero relajarte y después activarte. Y dejar que solamente estés conectado con el punto que viene. Ni siquiera pensando en 2 puntos. Y eso es lo más importante. Go ahead with the last question. A lot of people saying hi to you. One former player, Agustin Moreno, saying hi to you. And then you are one of the best minds on tennis. It's like a big friend of us. Gabriel Fangers from Mexico is saying that he is collecting all your articles on the tennis magazine that you wrote like 20 years ago. You did a lot of articles, tennis articles on the tennis magazine. Gabriel is collecting that, and then say he has all your articles. Which is very good. Let's do the last one. what are the key aspects, to think to win? Which are the key aspects for the players? When you are uploading junior, is asking Juan from Costa Rica.
The Think to Win. Are we talking about the Think to Win book?
Exactly.
Well, the Think to Win book is a book on strategy. It has some chapters on the strokes, but basically the strategy, and if I had to boil down the most important things, it would be you play mostly position on the court, okay? And when you hit the ball cross court, that leaves you in the best position for the next shot, okay? That when you hit down the line, you hit down the line for aggression, you hit cross court for position.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is a matter, what should I say? The way to describe it is when the ball is in the middle of your opponent's court, when you've hit the ball down the center, your best position to cover your court is right in the middle, in the center. If you hit the ball off to your opponent's forehand, then your best position is off to the right side of the center. If you hit your opponent's backhand, your best position now is off to the left side of the center. And so you realize that when your opponent hits to your backhand, the best reply for position is to hit the ball cross court, because you don't have to go even to the midline. You only recover maybe some feet to the same side of the court as you're on already. If you hit the ball down the line, you have to recover on the other side of the midline. So you have a longer run. So in the back of your mind, you work cross court usually, unless you have an opening for aggression. And the only reason you hit down the line is for aggression, or if your opponent has a weaker side.
Yeah.
Okay, if they have a bad side, okay, you go into the bad side and you give up position a little bit.
La pregunta de Juan fue cómo es el libro Think to Win, o sea, piensa para ganar, ¿no? Y entonces dice que es un libro más de estrategia, y lo que ahí explicaba mucho es cómo los tiros cruzados son de posicionamiento, porque el tenis es un deporte de posicionamiento y el golpe paralelo es un golpe de agresión. Obviamente, cuando tú desplazas al jugador del centro de la cancha a través de tiros cruzados, lo que estás generando es una apertura del otro que corra más metros y posicionándote en el mejor lugar para poder generar una posición de ataque. Si estás atacando el golpe de derecha, del centro de la cancha vas a tener un movimiento hacia la derecha para cubrir el ángulo que viene del tiro cruzado. Very good. Okay, Alan, we have 1 hour and a half. It was a wonderful time with you. For sure, we're going to make it, probably next time, during this year, if you want, and probably we can have something in Mexico next year. But Alan, thank you very much for your time. A lot of people enjoy your inputs and your ideas and your recommendation, and was very good to talk with you.
Well, thank you for having me. You did more work than I did. So thank you for your good work in translation. It's a good thing you understand the game to begin with. Huh?
That's very good. That's very good. Bueno, por supuesto, lo que le dije, que le agradecemos mucho el tiempo. ¿Sí? I'm gonna send you a big hug from all of us, our institute also, and all the coaches who are watching you all this hour and a half. And for sure, because it's on YouTube, they have the opportunity to watch many times. This is a very good aspect now, and they can watch your ideas and your recommendation many times as possible.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Thank you. Take care. And
adios, friends.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Alan. Say hello to Nancy too.
I give her your best.
And thank you for the help too. Take care, take care, my friend.
You too. You too.
Thank you.